over a victory in Iowa City. Welcome in the Michigan Basketball Postgame Live Show. I'm Dennis Fithian. It is over in Iowa City on this Sunday evening. 90-80, Michigan wins it over the Hawkeyes, and Michigan gets their first Big Ten win, getting it done on the road and improve their record to 5-5 on the season. Let's talk about this one. We're here after every Michigan basketball game talking about how the Maize and Blue fared, and they fared pretty well tonight. This was a game that, you know, anytime you're going on the road in the Big Ten, Michigan point spread wise was 3.5 point underdog in this one. And after dropping their Big Ten opener to Indiana back on Tuesday night, you don't want to start the conference 0-2 and let the slide continue here. So they really needed that W. Now, if I told you that Doug McDaniel and Olivier Comwa would put up goose eggs in the first half in the scoring department, you would say, well, things were probably not looking too bright for U of M, but that was the case. And yet Michigan was up at the half. And then after a pretty early going, ended up putting the hammer down with a really good second half. I'll show you some of these notes that I took. Game number 10 on the season for the Maize and Blue. Big Ten road opener in Iowa City. Wolverines looking to get back to 500. And it was Terrace Reed Jr., a career night for the sophomore Reed Jr. out of St. Louis, Missouri. He got into double figures early, and U of M had a 2-point lead at the break, 35-33 in the second half. Iowa scored the first 4 points of the second half, and then Michigan really caught fire, put up that 11-0 run after the first 4, and from there, they really never looked back. Fran McCaffrey, the Iowa head coach, gets ejected after 2 quick tees in the second half. Michigan drained some free throws there, put them up 20, and Michigan from there just I'd say cruised. Iowa didn't shoot well. Michigan had something to do with that defensively. Michigan taking care of the ball, and now U of M 5-5 on the season. So that's what you like to see from U of M. Always take your feedback. Adam jumping in and says this team scores more than enough each night, but they must defend, rebound, and take care of the basketball much better to contend for a tourney spot. Adam, I'll give you the bingo on the feedback. I think what you're saying there is spot on. Tighten up on defense, hitting that glass, and then being able to, was that Clark Kellogg, squeeze the orange, not turn it over. And, they're going to be doing a much better job if staying in games and being able to win them. Now, yeah, there is that, what you're talking about defensively. And then as we have saw the last 2 games against Indiana out there against Oregon, these were 1-possession games down the stretch. And Michigan, if they want to do better in tight games, they want to win their share of games. Over the last 2 years, they have not done that. It's been a bugaboo for this team, being able to close out games, win 1-score games, win 1-possession games. They just have not been able to do it, and that's a troubling trend for this team. Now, people were beside themselves after the loss to Indiana. I understand that. I get that. It's appropriate, to be that way. There is some value, not much, but being able to say, hey, at least we're in games. Like, there are a lot of people like, this season's over and everything else. And it doesn't help you, I don't think, that much, but again, a little bit. Hey, they've been they're in the games. Is it something you learn how to close out games? Yes, but really it comes down to the talent, and that talent executing in a team concept. I mean, all the things that we know, but I just think back of the game against Oregon last weekend. Doug McDaniel had the ball, he's flying up the court, and the guy tips it and ends up, going off of McDaniel's that's where you want the ball, who you want it with, and it ends up being a turnover. And that was one of the costly mistakes down the stretch. McDaniel as well, not to pick on him, but he's one of the stars, if not the star of the team against IU in the last 3 minutes. He misses 3 free throws, and it kind of put Michigan in a football term for you guys behind the chains in a lot of those possessions by splitting those baskets and not being able to drain them. So your best players in a team concept need to be able to make those plays. But yeah, all that stuff comes into play. Rebounding, turnovers, blocking out, making the clutch plays in winning time, all of that. It didn't get to that point tonight because Michigan just came out and played so well early in the second half and never looked back. Let's look at that box score. And P. Maximus is calling this team a mystery. I get what you're saying there. A little bit of a mystery. Come out and play like they did against Iowa tonight, shoot the ball like they did against Iowa tonight, and then lose some ball games like they had. I understand that. Yeah, a little bit like here's Terrace Reed heading into the season. I'm thinking, I wasn't expecting 19-6 from Terrace Reed Jr., but I was expecting more. He's gotten off to a very slow start, especially offensively. A lot of it had to do, what it looks like to me, is his confidence. A lot of travel, some of those, with a big man. He's got more of, Reed is all of 6'10", right? And when he has the ball, he's pretty quick and agile and athletic, for a 6'10" guy. And I think he surprises the officials sometimes. He's got big feet and he's out there and he's putting the ball on the floor and he's going to get by guys and they're calling him for some travels. I'm not saying that they all have not been travels, but it's just that thing when you're a big man and you're putting it on the floor like that. You've got big feet. Sometimes you do get called for some of those that a smaller player doesn't get called for. But he was dialed in early. He was the story of the game through 5 minutes, through 10 minutes, through the first half. And then here at the end of the game, a career high for Terrace Reed Jr., 19 points and 6 boards. And yeah, he's not going to go 7 of 10 from the floor every night. And yeah, looking at Iowa, where you could attack them, they gave up a lot of points in the paint coming into this game. So the Michigan staff emphasized it, and it paid off for them. In this game of the first half with McDaniel and Kamwa not providing anything offensively in the first half. It was Reed Jr., and we haven't seen that. And so good for him. This is one of those things that you hope can continue him being able to provide something offensively. They could really use that on the front line down in the paint, points in the paint from Reed Jr. We can't emphasize that enough. Damari Burnett had 14. He's an interesting player, Burnett. You think about that game in Madison Square Garden where he had 19 points or whatever it was in the first half. He was draining them from all over the place, and it's just like, wow, he scores in bunches is what it looks like. He'll fire him up 3 and D, firing him up from downtown. He's got a little baseline game. He'll put it on the floor, but I think that's what you're going to get from him is buckets in bunches from Burnett, who had 14, 3 boards and 4 assists on 4-11 from the field, including 2 of 8 from downtown. TW2, good game for one of the Michigan captains here, Terrence Williams II, 13 points, 5 boards, and 3 assists. This is the kind of line you see from TW2, and you feel like Michigan's going to have a chance to win ball games when he plays like that. 5 of 9 from the floor, 3 of 6 from downtown. Everything you wanted to see from Williams II you saw tonight. Olivier Kamwa, you always want more. He's he can be a star in the Big Ten. There's a lot to like about Kamwa and his game. He threw down a magnificent dunk on the break. He can shoot it from downtown. He can post up guys. So he's a real matchup problem for the other team. I find when he puts it on the floor and sometimes when he passes, I'm not so hot on those two aspects of his game. And he can't be getting shut out like he did in the first half, but he gets shut out in the second half, and then comes back and ends up with 12 points and 10 boards. So a double-double there for Olivier. That ends up looking good. 12 and 10. And then same thing can be said about Doug McDaniel. He's along with Kamwa. I mean, this is the 1-2 punch for this team, and neither of them had a point in the first half. And then here's McDaniel, ends up with a line of 11 points, 5 boards, and 7 assists. Just 1 of 5 from downtown. So, those guys caught fire in the second half. Will Cheddar, he was a fan favorite. You could tell by the Maze Rage, and it's the way he plays. He plays hard. He's got the serious look, serious demeanor when he comes in, and then he is, he's not the quickest, most agile, most athletic, but man, he can get it done, and he got it done again tonight. 10 points, 6 boards, and assist for Cheddar. Trey Jackson, he's instant offense for Michigan. He picked up a tee. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if he got into the lane, said something to the official or whatever else. He was pretty frustrated by it, but I like his offensive game. He'll give you a little punch. Yo-Yo got a bucket, and George Washington III gets into the scoring ledger as well with 1 point. So that's how it worked with the box score. Let's take some feedback before we get to the upcoming schedule. Michigan GB's talking about MSU losing. He'll be looking at Joey Brackets to see MSU's fate. Well, right now in Lincoln, the Spartans are up 10-6. So you got something to root for there. And yeah, it's not been that great of a start for Michigan State. That's for sure. Adam says he'll take that double-double from Olivier each night. P. Maximus, he's glad to see the balanced scoring, but we are just so inconsistent, especially on defense. We seem to fall apart mentally, but at least not in this game. Hopefully that's a trend. There's another feedback on the defense, and here's one saying he likes how quickly T. Will got the ball up the court to T. Reed on the and one of the first half. We need to continue to get the ball up the floor quick. I'll buy that. I like the T. Will to T. Reed connection that you're talking about. One thing I like about TW2, every player to an extent, when they got it going and they're in rhythm, they shoot. And Reed can be frustrating to watch with some of his turnovers and I don't know, blinders sometimes he seems like he has on, whatever. He shoots the ball confidently, man. When he gets it, he'll come down on the break. There'll be one pass up to him quickly. He'll rise and fire. And you can see, man, he shoots it with authority, and you can tell he has that confidence there. So I like to see that from Terrence Williams the second. What do I like to see from this Michigan team? Well, let's look ahead where they're at right now. They needed a W, and they were able to get one. Let's check that upcoming Michigan basketball schedule, and it is brought to you by the Maize and Blue Review. And good afternoon, Michigan football and basketball, which you can hear 3 times a week on this very feed that you're watching or listening to right now at 2 o'clock on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Means we'll be with you tomorrow, and that upcoming schedule looks like this. Michigan is off all week until Saturday when they will host Eastern Michigan, a matinee at the Chrysler Center. You can see that one on the Big Ten Network. So Michigan off until Saturday, and then they will take on Florida. There you go. A matchup with the Florida Gators on a Tuesday night, 7 o'clock start. I like that. And then you've got McNeese State to wind out 2023. I guess, here we are. I mean, it's December the 10th. You're starting to talk about, we got our Christmas decorations up. We're talking about the end of the year. Michigan just 3 games left in 2023. McNeese State. That were Joe D, the Pistons Hall of Famer, and a GM. Went to college. That one will be on the Big Ten Network, and then they'll get into the new year by taking on the Gophers. So that's how it's going to play out. Last one or two on the feedback. AS says it seems like this team is trying to play fast, which I like, but sometimes it seems they're in too much of a hurry and turn the ball over. We have to tighten that up. Yeah, a couple games that, you're going to have some turnovers. It's the ones where, the ball's going off your leg, or, you're throwing an alley-oop on somebody on a back cut, and, they fake going back. They're not on the same page. Those are the ones that are frustrating. But it will take a lot of positives out of this game here in the second half, and really in all of the areas that everyone is talking about. So get back, and you get a week of practice, and the schedule we just looked at. Let's make some predictions. Michigan should beat Eastern. Florida, we're talking about a little bit of a toss-up here, but, they got to win some ball games. And if you're going to be at home, I'm going to say they got to win that one. McNeese State, they got to win. So get on a little bit of a winning streak here. They had lost 3 in a row. They've won 1. Here's 2 in a row, 3 in a row, 4 in a row. Win 4 in a row. And guess what? People are not going to be talking about, well, Jawan has to go, and this, where's Ward? You can take all of that kind of discussion if that's frustrating, or if you're somebody that's right there at the front of the line, saying all of that. It gets moved over here if you're able to stack up victories, and that's kind of how it works. So there you go. That's how it's doing. Joe Dumars. Amy jumping in. Good to see you, Amy. That's the way it's done here on the Michigan basketball postgame live show. If you're like this broadcast, you like listening, watching Michigan hoops. Of course, we're here after the games. We're talking about Michigan hoops on the Den, on the Maize and Blue Review. So join up. And, you're thinking about getting that someone special for you. Maybe it's the person that's listening right now. Something for a Christmas. Give yourself the gift of the Maize and Blue Review, or send it out to that Michigan fan in your life. Go to michigan.rivals.com. We'll see you over on the Den. Great Christmas gift. And, right now it's, I don't need to tell you, football conversation is, it's really exciting. It's like the best time ever to be a Michigan football fan. And then if you like talking about hoops, we're doing that all day, all night as well. All right, we will see you basketball-wise after the game Saturday against EMU. Michigan wins it by 10 tonight after being up a bucket after half. The final, 90-88. Michigan 5-5 on the season. We'll see if they're able to get on that winning streak to close out this year in style. That'll do it. Thanks for watching.